Stranger things have happened, right? But I'm actually kind of wondering if my KVM isn't causing some issue. Because remember how I told you that my C3 keyboard doesn't want to work on boot? Well, I watched it. The KVM doesn't even recognize, the KVM tries to initiate, but it doesn't get there until you're well past the boot screen. But if I plug in the other keyboard into the KVM, it initiates instantly. So I'm thinking, this is just me, I don't know, because, but I'm thinking whatever microprocessor they're using doesn't instant boot. It boots a little bit slower and the KVM doesn't recognize it until it boots. Maybe. When I take the keyboard and plug it directly in, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Really?
Yeah. So
I will play with mine some more. Try turning the lights off so it draws less current.
at boot time,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really, yeah, okay, that's a good idea.
Though all the lights on at full brightness, they're still under half an amp.
I've got them way lower than full
Yeah.
brightness. But that's the only thing I could think of is whatever processor they're using doesn't just instant post and say, hey, I'm a USB device.
Your wireless in that doesn't work?
No.
I meant to get you a Intel card. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. This one has an old funky that works, but not well.
Okay.
And I Googled the problem, and apparently it is an issue with the Wi-Fi card itself, not software, not any, there's nothing you can do. It's just.
Does that have 2 or 3 antennas? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. If you think about it, open it up and just check. And it may have 2 attached and a third there. But I've got cards. Just if you've got 3 leads, that's an N or the next thing capable.
This has to be older than that. It has to be.
I am surprised at how long AX has been a thing.
Well, I've got it disabled right now. I turned it completely off. I don't even remember how I did that, but I turned it completely off.
Oh, it can be disabled in BIOS.
I think I did it. It doesn't matter. I think I did it with Linux, but
okay.
This old Wi-Fi card.
Yeah,
you can't kill these stupid things. They just go and go.
Great $6 card. They're more expensive now.
It's not the fastest thing in the work, but if you need something rock solid, it just works.
Oh. That's my it always works card.
Barry's here. What is that? Okay.
It was about $6 on Amazon.
If you think about it, it's not a big deal. If you think about it, just send me a link. I don't have a problem using the externals. It's just whatever card they had stuck in this originally. I mean, this seems like it's a beast, but it's 12 years old,
Mhm.
and whatever they had stuck in it, it just does not work well. And apparently it didn't work well even then. It's just
So is it Broadcom?
it,
It's not Intel because those are all supported.
I forget. I'd have to look. It might be a bug. All I know is it worked, but
Mhm.
not well, and sometimes it would go and work really, really well. And then other times it would just go, okay, I'm going to disconnect now and reconnect and disconnect and reconnect. And I'm
That's
sitting there going,
weird.
I'm sitting there going, but I haven't moved the computer. The computer hasn't moved. What has changed? So it was just easier
That
to,
sounds almost like they didn't hook it, or it isn't connected with the antennas.
uh, I would believe that, but since other people say that it does the exact same thing,
Mhm.
I find that hard to believe. It might have been one of those weird cards that was only really supported well with Windows,
Mhm.
because I've seen a few of those.
More and more. I love this little piece of crap.
Well, we got Barry, we got Art, but I don't see either one. Of course, we probably never would see Barry.
Meh.
What's going on, Mr. Barry?
Oh, trying to put up with people trying to steal my stuff.
Oh,
What?
All these stupid auctions. Somebody stole my 2.5 gig network card a little bit ago. Like, bah.
I like went to pick it up and it wasn't there.
No, this fast track, they
Oh.
outbid me.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's just rude.
I
I should have spent a little more and went and bid it back, but I was like, yeah, keep it at that price. I can just about order a new one off AliExpress. So
that's my problem with Fast Track. When I was buying stuff from them, it always seemed like stuff went high retail. And I just sit there and go, why are you paying that much for this stuff?
yeah, one of the things I was watching, they actually went up to the price of it new, and I was like, dude, you guys are stupid.
Yeah. High retail.
Like, at least if you bought it new, you know, if it was broke, you could, you know, do something about it. I did win one of these though, so that's kind of cool. It's a chat window.
Oh. I don't. See the chat. I need to find something. Let's see. Oh, a microscope kind of thing in the bottom.
Yepers.
I screwed up. There was one of those at the flea market for $60. And
Really?
I walked right past it, and by the time I got back around to it, it was gone.
I bet.
So yeah, I screwed up on that. That was I was kicking myself. I didn't want to carry it.
I can understand that. I went to one of those computer fest things years and years and years, eons ago. And a buddy talked me into buying that. The hell was that stupid thing? Indigo computer.
Oh yeah.
Those things weigh like a freaking Mack truck. And I was like, I was like, oh, if it's still here at the end of the show, and the guy's like, well, I'll cut you a deal if it is, and yeah, I ended up buying it and had to lug that all the way back to the car.
If you need it, I've got a spare 30 meg drive for it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I got two more in the garage. I got from a. I don't even know where this came from. They
In-
probably work. They probably need drives though.
Well, yeah, yeah, I went to the flea market, was walking through outside and I saw it and I was like, $60. Looked at Patty and said, that's a really good deal for one of those. And I said, I don't really want to carry it. She said, well, you just take it back to the car now. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then I would have to catch back up.
I got brand new headlight set for my car for $15,
You?
which I was really shocked that they had one for my car.
I bought off of AliExpress years ago. I bought a headlight set for the Crown Vic. LED lights, the whole 9 yards. Had to modify the what do you call it, the clips to actually get it to work right. They lasted all of about 6 months and blew out, and I put the halogen bulbs back in and it was perfectly happy.
Yeah, those LEDs are stupidly overpriced.
Yeah, well, I will say they did actually illuminate a little bit better. I mean, I could see a little bit further, but they weren't. It wasn't everything it was cracked up to be. It wasn't like amazingly difference in.
Well, that's yeah. So the LED bulbs for Prius were $1,000 and had no warranty.
Nice.
So if you plugged them in and they only lasted 30 seconds, you need to buy another one.
I was fully expecting these headlights to outlast the car, honestly, because
LEDs, and they should, but they are built to break.
they definitely were not. It was not a good situation.
I go through on these LED light bulbs in the house. They burn out twice as fast as the old incandescents. So about every 3 months, I need to put in another freaking bulb. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Those Mercury smart bulbs that I've had for years. I've only had one of those go bad. I've got 6 or 7 of them in the house. They are getting dimmer though. I will admit they're not quite putting off as much light as they used to, so they may be getting ready to die. But I've had them for years.
Yeah.
I think I paid $20 for the 2-pack, maybe $16 for the 2-pack, so it was worth it. You know, I think I probably still have maybe 2 or 3 brand new that I haven't even turned on yet. Remind me before the end of the meeting, we're gonna have to figure out what we're going to do for next month. But I kind of want to see if Vicente shows up so we can get his input as well.
The library on fire or something?
July 4th is Thursday.
Oh.
And the
Library closed.
Yeah.
I would say that's just a freebie day unless people want to get together somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of leaning towards spending time with family and whatnot, but
Yeah.
we'll get the general consensus of whatever, and then we could do the 11th and the 18th in person. And then go back to virtual meetings. But we'll see what Vicente thinks. I think he probably would agree. I got. No, there it is. I got my Cosmic Elf simulator that I need to put together. It actually says it to Kim Uno. That's what
Cool.
Vicente's been working on, or it is the Kims.
Okay, so there's no chip.
Yeah, it's on
It's
the back-
already mounted.
It's on the backside.
Ah, there.
It's just an Arduino. It's an Arduino mini.
Cool.
I'm not real sure why
Okay,
they
how much?
$20.
It's not bad.
I've got the 3D files to print the case. With nice buttons. I just have to find the time to put it together. Doesn't really look like it's all that complicated. There's switches, or yeah, buttons. And resistors. And a couple of header pins, and that's about it. The Kim 1 and the Cosmic Elf. The Kim 1 is a 6502 base. The Cosmic Elf is 1802. But apparently they basically had the same layout. The Elf has a couple of more LEDs, but they're using the dots in the display as the extra LEDs that are missing.
I had some weird 7-segment displays that had 2 decimal points. You could turn them over. They had a decimal point on opposite corners.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a long, long time ago.
I've seen them with like a colon, like more like a clock.
Mhm.
I've seen those kind back when I was in college, where they were on the edge like that. I don't think I ended up with any. Yeah, I don't remember why they were cheap. Probably made by a country at the time.
Were they different colors?
No, it's just red,
Huh.
but they were, a lot cheaper than American made components at the time. But it was, kind of uncommon to have. The stuff all came from, Taiwan or something back then, I think.
Yeah.
When they first, when they were getting into the chip making, back then, so they were made cheaper and glass plate. They were fragile. I just remember we had them in the one lab or whatever.
Wow. I don't know. Apparently the Kim one didn't use, they used the 7 segment display, but it didn't use the dots, I guess. So they're just extra. But the Cosmic Elf needed LEDs to display what it was doing, so they repurposed the dots for that, which I thought was kind of inventive. And the Cosmic Elf had the ability to do video. And whoever wrote the emulator for it has the video going out on the I2C bus, so it can use an OLED display. And I was like, that's cool. Don't need to try to do something funky, but apparently the Arduino Uno is more than capable of simulating these old machines.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really take much.
Yeah, but I mean, the Uno is pretty light itself. I mean, it's only a couple of K or something. I got all 21 dragons printed,
Woohoo.
plus 4 extra because the other grandkid wanted more. That was an adventure. That was so. I think I probably told you guys last week the PLA that I was using is mono PLA. It's mono PLA with kind of a soft texture to it that goes from one color to the next. So there's kind of like a transition period. And eventually I found the right settings to make it work correctly. With after 3 or 4 dragons printed, I was kind of like, oh, kind of got it homed in to where it needed to be, but I definitely needed a brim because it still didn't really want to adhere to the build plate real well. At least the first layer. And the biggest problem I had with it was actually getting it out of removing it out of the print head, out of the hot end. I finally figured out that if I, instead of telling the printer to unload, if I told it to load and it started dripping through and I hit the thing and real fast jerked it out, that worked just fine. But I had to I had to take the printer apart 3 times to clean the hot end because it got stuck in there. It got stuck in there once really bad. I wasn't sure I was going to fix it. And thankfully it was very soft, so it was easy enough to kind of take a little pick and just kind of pick some holes in it that I could finally get something down in there to push it the rest of the way in. But that's my adventure of using silk that's not really silk. The silk stuff Few people have told me to try again. That. And it does, it looks really nice when it prints right, but. It just seems like. Your printer has to be really good to use that stuff.
I just wanted to post a link.
Steve's here.
Why do KVM switches cost so freaking much?
Sorry,
Oops.
does that thing.
Batman.
Oh. That is a good question, Mr. Barry, and I'm leaning towards my KVM switch causing me issues that I don't know about.
Well, I really miss them, and it's like I got two computers up here. I want to, since I cut my mouse or my keyboard got cut, and I still haven't tried to fix it. I need a USB cable or something to look at, but it'd be nice to be able to go back and forth. I really miss doing that.
Well,
I thought what I need to do is rig up a virtual connection or whatever so I can just pull up the other screen, but
my
oh,
my KVM is, oh,
Well, shoot, never mind. I'll post the full thing. Normally, when you shorten those, they work.
it works. My KVM, I'm pretty sure it's a TrendNet KVM from probably 2 decades ago. It works, but oh, cool. That
Wait. That's a different price than what mine shows.
Of course it is. Because we've looked at two separate people have looked at it.
And now mine shows that. Mine was half that. It was under $6.
Because two separate people have looked at it. I literally.
Hello,
Hello,
Hello.
hi there. How you doing?
Art's here finally.
Just a moment. You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I can barely hear you. Let me go adjust my volume.
I did this, I had looked up something to buy on AliExpress.
Mhm.
It was $3. I looked it up on one machine. I'm logged in on AliExpress in the other machine, and all my pay stuff is, I didn't want to log in and
Mhm.
do it all again. When I sent it over to the other machine, it turned into $8.96, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It was still a good deal, but it was
gone up.
it was $5 and some odd bit of change more than
Well, I noticed that the prices on AliExpress are getting very horrible. I forget exactly what I was looking at a couple days ago, and it's like they were actually higher on AliExpress than Amazon. And I'm like, what the crap's that? And then I dug around on AliExpress and found this stuff like back with the price like 6 months ago when it was like $20. I was like, okay, that's more reasonable. But it's like, why is the other guys wanting 150?
well, here's what I found out. So because I wasn't logged in on AliExpress on the one machine that I looked at, I got the quote unquote new customer price.
Yeah.
Because I was logged in on the other machine. If I would have put that in my cart and had to log in, it would have jumped instantly to $8 and something. Because I am a returning customer, not a new customer.
Mm. Interesting.
Give one of the things that is detrimental to me is the pick 10 items thing. I scroll down through that. Oh, that is cheap.
I need that.
That's the first time I saw that was they kept kicking me over to some sale saying, "Hey, you pick out 10 items, you get free shipping." I'm like, I don't need 10 of these.
Maybe, maybe it has something to do with how long we've been members, but mine is
Could be.
4. I only have to pick 4 items.
It might be. I don't know.
I only have to pick 4 items, but I've gone through, I bought a tiny little quadcopter and
Mhm.
some other stupid
I got a
crap.
bunch of RP 2040s for like $3 each or less.
I bought a bunch of stupid crap and I was, the only thing I was actually sort of happy with was the quadcopter, and it isn't even really what I thought I was buying. It's
They got one of these Snapmaker 3D or 3-in-1 3D printers up to $122. I
at,
bet it's an empty box.
at Fast Track.
Yeah.
You want some vinyl printers?
Vinyl printers.
Vinyl printers that'll print on vinyl. Wide format,
Oh,
wide format printers, Gov deals.
Oh,
There's 2 or 3 on there right now. All in within 100 miles of here.
I need to do that. The library right there does it.
Yeah,
I don't need to buy a printer for it.
that's
yeah, I wonder what the ink for that costs.
A few
Well,
bucks.
that's kind of where I'm like,
And where would you put it?
it's so cheap to just have the library do it. And they get to buy all the consumables. But
What?
I saw one on Gov Deals that is very similar to the one that they've got, and it was only at 300 and some odd dollars. You know that thing down there costs way more than $300.
Yeah.
I was thinking these snap things weren't these snap makers were pretty pricey, weren't they?
I thought so. Aren't they
There's-
CNC and laser and 3D?
Yeah, it's got like it's their prototype model, where it's like one leg up and then a cross member and it goes side by side on a little bitty area. They're saying the MSRP on it's $199, which I don't remember it ever being that low, but I've been looking around trying to find it. I can't find it anywhere. They have a 2.0 model now. It looks more like a 3D printer with a, box around it and everything.
I thought the snap makers were. Thought they were like a 3-in-1 tool.
Yeah.
That looks like a dual hit.
That's how they make it fast. You just print 2 of something at the same time.
Something at the same time. The it's actually what Thea told me to do. She noticed that my printer has 2 print heads. She said, "Papa, you could just print 2 dragons at the same time," and I'm like, doesn't quite work that way. I wish it worked that way. That's not the snap maker you're talking about, though, is it?
No, I
Mr.
put
Barrett.
the link up there for it. It is the original snap maker that they did their Kickstarter with. But I remember that being like a $1,600 doozy
Oh,
here.
Yeah, I thought that was a lot more than $200. $700 or $800 anyway.
I can't find it anywhere online for sale, so I'm like, well, okay, if they're saying it's 199, but they have a 2.0 model now, and they say it looks more like what you were showing. So I have no idea anymore. I just thought it'd be interesting to have like a little etcher or something, but
I mean, Snapmaker sells accessories. That's probably what they've done. They probably have looked at like the 2.0. This 2.0 says it's $1,000.
But you save $200.
You can save $200.
I find it hilarious. There's a 2003 Mac Mini auctioned in Maysville, Kentucky.
Somebody will buy it.
Well, I'm planning on buying it. I just hate to have to drive all the way to Maysville because they don't even know what a computer is down there. But I think it's interesting that it's there.
They've either mistyped, missed the 9.
Well, but that's the saying. If you look around, it's like you can't even find the original.
How much is the 250? It's a slightly smaller one. It's not that much smaller.
It's still $1,000. Yeah, tax and everything on there. Yeah. That's kind of the original. I bet they missed like a 9, or they put the decimal point in the wrong spot or something. I seem to recall that was at least $1,600 when it was on Kickstarter.
I don't remember. I remember it being cheaper than a lot of things, but it was still pretty pricey with all if you because the other two attachments included.
Well,
Of course,
I remember thinking, there's no way I'm spending that on a 3D printer.
well, I say what would be really funny is since they don't show you what's in the box, it's probably just the two pieces of engineered aluminum replacement frames or something.
Maker 2.0, Snapmaker, the original. Just tell us what the award. Super early bird, $199. I do not remember it being that cheap.
I'll say the early bird was just a 3D printer though, wasn't it? Without the other heads. Yeah.
Yeah,
Half-kilogram spool filament.
that's what my printer used until I modified it to take the larger.
Oh,
Yes, and they're a pain in the
yeah.
keister to find those, so.
I've never seen one.
Well. There we go, an early beta adapter for $700. Okay, so it wasn't as much as I thought, but it definitely was not $200.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I doubt that auction has all the parts either. It's probably just the base model. If it even has the print head.
Yeah,
That's what bothers me when they don't open and show you what's in the box. There's a reason.
yeah. I I remember when the people that started Fast Track used to actually do real live auctions. You actually could go to their auction.
Oh yeah.
And I remember going there and the lady, I probably shouldn't say too much. I don't want to get sued. She always seemed like she was doing shady stuff. The guy always seemed like he was legit, but but then they started Fast Track. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if they got divorced or what, because then there was bid FTA and then there was just Fast Track. And I think they're two separate things.
No, they're the same thing. The website's the bid FTA, and then it fast tracks the distribution.
Okay.
Um,
I don't think either one of them own it anymore. I think they've sold it to somebody else, so.
it could be it's interesting how much more organized they are than they used to be.
Yeah.
It's actually other than schoolhouse out the facility, they're being pretty nice now. The one in Eastgate's phenomenal. Um,
Well, it's not just that, but they've got what in North Carolina and
well, yeah, just by
oh,
the ones that are local, I was like, I ended up, I, I came back as a bid on a whole bunch of stuff all over town. So like Wednesday, I drove all over town collecting all my auctions, and the one in Eastgate, they actually have put up racks with 4 shelves, like pallet racks.
mhm,
And then all your stuff, it tells you what row, what column, and what shelf your item is. So you can walk in, grab it, and walk right out. It was real clean, organized, and ridiculously easy. Um, and I guess that's part of the problem is because when I was at schoolhouse, they were getting ready to start building the racks in the short section. So all the stuff that was labeled in the short section had all been moved out into the main warehouse, which was bullshit because there was no cross reference telling you where any of your stuff was.
right.
And of course, half the people are Mexican and they didn't want to help because they were tired of being bugged by all the customers, and they'd be like, "No hablo inglés." And then they're like, one would tell me this aisle, this guy tell me that aisle, and one guy tell me this aisle, and
When
spent 2.5 hours walking around trying to find my crap.
the few times that I have bought anything, they were still relatively small. I think the place was it, I think it was well, I know it was down close to you. I don't know. Is that Eastgate?
Yeah, the one in Amelia, the one I've used the most. It's not too big. It went in where the Kroger's used to be.
Okay,
Um, so it's not horrible. It's fairly clean, but and it's not very large, so it's easy to find your stuff.
right.
The one in schoolhouse is in an old warehouse that's like a half-mile long. And they have like 5 or 6 um pork trucks running it all the time. It's where all their distribution trucks are coming in with all the pallets of stuff. Um, yeah, it's a bear to find stuff in there when they're not where it's supposed to be because you're basically wandering around in a, you
When
know,
when I
2 acre warehouse going, where do I look?
yeah, when I was doing it, you weren't allowed to go in the warehouse. You would take them your paid receipt and they would bring you your stuff out.
Oh, I've never been where it was like that.
It well
It's
it they had like a little showroom kind of deal up in the front that you were allowed to go in and look, and it was the upcoming stuff that they were getting ready to do. But
uh,
you couldn't go in there and just collect your stuff. They
yeah, every time I've done it, it's always, and like I said, I hadn't done it for since COVID. Um, this is the first set of auctions I've done since like 2000. And yeah, I mean it's I remember why I quit was because of Schoolhouse trying to find my crap because they're just like, it's in here somewhere, help yourself. And I'm like, are you crapping me? Because there's,
You
you
sure?
know,
What?
I'm like dodging fork trucks, looking at stuff wrapped in stacks, and the
They-
fork truck driver sent me off to another stack somewhere else. And I did finally find all my stuff. It just, Schoolhouse is a horrible, horrible, horrible location.
Yeah. They
Um,
had like in the back lot. That's where you would go. You'd go in the front, you'd pay your bill. They would give you a receipt to give to the warehouse guy and a receipt for you to keep. And you would go around to the back of the building and there would be like a parking lot and you'd line up. There would be 40 cars lined up and a guy would come to your car, grab the receipt, and he basically would go through the warehouse, check off everything that was on that receipt and bring it to you.
yes.
It was not the most efficient thing. I sat there for an hour, maybe one day waiting, but it definitely worked. I mean, they definitely had a system.
Yeah, I just say I've never been at one that's been like that.
There were probably 10 or 15 worker guys trying to handle 40 cars. So it was, like I said, it wasn't the most efficient system,
Yeah.
but
No, like
it worked.
West Seymour, for example. I've been there twice this week, sadly, because I grabbed the wrong box and I shocked it didn't catch that. But anyhow, the primary item I wanted from there, so I had to go back yesterday and get it. And they have lines that go down the aisle and out through the warehouse and then halfway. And I looked at that line, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be here all day. Um and it actually went crazy fast. I was shocked I got out so quick. Um but yeah, I mean, but they ended up having to call like 5 other people to help check out people. And that's getting your own stuff. I can't imagine if there was people fetching your stuff. You'd be there for days.
Well,
Because that West Seymour, I don't know if you've ever been to that one, they got like a 5 or 6 row parking lot, and it's been packed every time I've gone over there.
the only one that I ever went to was the one down near your place, down there off of 50 or whatever that is.
And 125,
125, whatever that is down there.
yeah.
And
The Million's pretty decent.
that's the only one I've ever been to, but I know there's one over in Mount Olive.
No, well, there's the other one's Broadwell is like right at the intersection of Mount Carmel, Tabasco Road,
Yeah.
and Broadway. That was the first time I ever been to that. That's a little tiny place, and it's on the backside of a big factory. And I said it's phenomenally clean and well organized. That's the best one I've ever been in. I walked right in there, grabbed my stuff. Now they had 2 different sets of signage for where stuff was located, and I was using what I was used to was the stuff hanging from the ceiling, and that's not how it is now. It's all based on the racks, and they got tags on each rack and each shelf. If I'd known that, I'd have found my one item right off the bat and been in and out, but I had to ask for help because I didn't see it. I thought my stuff was gone, and I was looking at the wrong end of the rack because the label said 6 through 13, and they're actually labeled backwards on the floor on the racks. So I was actually looking where 6 was instead of rack 13.
Right. I don't think I went to a couple of pickup places up in Columbus before, but I don't think they were fast track. I think
Yeah.
somebody else. But it was
There's
the same system. You go in, hand them your receipt, and they bring you your stuff. So
there's some other guys.
Should just. put
How
that
is the
in.
camera?
Oh,
oh,
we built
this is
That does-
this isn't the problem. This one's not the problem.
There's another one.
Yes, It's the good one from the house.
We like those.
Okay, hold on.
Are we building a keyboard?
Apparently, we're messing with keyboards. Still,
That's just, I've seen some assembly keyboards in the auctions. I almost started to reach out and say, "Hey,
keyboards.
they got keycaps and push buttons."
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so those are not
Those are not.
something that you can replace easily.
Okay, go ahead.
What did Sente bring? Looks like a mini computer.
Yeah, it's his robot.
Ah,
Oh,
It's got a diffuser underneath the matrix,
And
probably 7 or 8 LEDs across the top of the whole thing.
huh. That's kind of interesting.
and the illumination shines through the entire key.
You can get those in standard MX.
Just one color, right?
Yeah,
Just blue. You can, okay. And RGB.
Oh, now it's changing.
Well, only because I'm pushing the button. I have a keyboard that I purchased because it was on sale. And I thought I was buying a cordless keyboard. And when I got it home, it was corded.
it's better.
And it has this really obnoxious thing where all the colors change and
Oh, yeah.
flash, and it's like, no, I don't want that.
I bought a refurb computer from Micro Center for my grandkids. Dell something or other, I don't remember what. And it came with an aftermarket $6 keyboard. Awful. You cannot turn off the LEDs. They just sit there and glitter and really distracting. I'm tempted to make them a decent keyboard, but they're a little too young still.
Okay. Tilde is at the top.
Tilde is what you get when you push shift.
Ah,
So, yes.
all right.
it
Well,
goes
I'm
back.
looking at the shape of the key.
Yeah.
And so it's got to go back on this direction. Do you want to look in the socket there? What, put that back in there.
That is. That's just interesting. Shift. Oh, there we go.
I do appreciate the size of the characters on there.
Yeah,
That's a good blind guide.
Yeah,
Keyboard.
well, I can see those without my glasses.
that's what I was looking at, was kind of that's a nice. There's nice font. It's a nice font on there.
On that. The font on those ones you did for me, that's Ubuntu.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't mind the I like the font on the C3. I mean, I agree, it's shifted up, but the font itself is fine. The font on that cheap Micro Center keyboard is just horrible, just
Yeah.
downright horrible. We're going to have to adjust
All right, guys, catch you later.
Oh, no. You out of here, Barry?
Yeah, gonna run.
All right. Well, we're virtual next week, so.
Yep.
I'll see you next week.
Have a good one, gentlemen.
So on. You want to start?
Art is having, he can barely hear us or something. I don't know. I think. I don't know if I can use this or not.
If anybody can, I have another
It's,
2 sets.
I have a batch of laptop memory that I don't have anything to put it in.
And that's DDR4. It's
I-
test is good, it's out of a Dell.
I don't know.
Your all-in-one is almost certainly sodium.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm just not sure which. I've got to think too. It's got one open. I think I've got 8, so I could theoretically go up to 16.
They work better if they're matched speed, so put them both in and,
I'll try it.
yeah.
I gotta open that up anyway, because I'm going
Yeah.
to, I'm gonna look at solder joints, so.
So this is entirely off the subject. We're going out to get in the car. We have a 1997 Mazda Miata
Nice.
with 58,000 miles on the odometer and less than 5,000 miles on the engine.
Okay.
We don't ever lock it. Isn't that fun? Someone had gotten in the car and pulled on the latch of the glove box until they broke. And nothing, it's nothing. It's just infuriating.
Yeah. Maybe they just did that on their Miata and they switched glove box lids.
Well, it was locked,
Uh,
and so they broke the handle off. So I bought the car for my wife when she was going back to nursing school. And she's only put like 5,000 miles on it in 10 years.
wow. You want to sell that? Let me know. I've wanted a Miata for a while.
I put 5,000 miles on in a couple of weeks. What are you talking about? 10 years.
Well, we have been debating as to whether we wish to keep it or whether we wish to sell it. And the cars that are in that condition, STOs, they're going for about $17,000 or $18,000, and I think which is triple what we paid for it.
Yeah.
It's,
Ain't that hilarious?
Yeah. The
And this-
Kelly Blue Book is still like 500.
that's
bucks.
connected to your phone.
Really?
Yeah, I put
Yeah.
it's the name of the network,
Even
the password in
60,000 miles?
here. Yeah, it's got the computer. 58, the story is the same one that was the guy blew up the engine. And he kept it in his garage covered up. He was going to give it to his neighbors who were gonna make an electric car out of it. And that was a pipe dream that never came to fruition. And then these 2 teenagers who always wanted to be auto mechanics bought the car from him, bought a new engine from Japan,
Nice.
brought it over, changed out all the topside stuff so the pollution control never would match this model,
Mhm.
and then sold it. And I took it to our mechanic, and he looked under the hood and said, "Who's been working on this?" I guess a teenager said, "Well, I did." He says, "I can usually look under the hood and see if people have done anything with the car." And the guy says, "Well, I said, kid." He says, "Well, I really need to change that hose clamp out there because it's too big. There's too much hanging out of the back of it." And he says, "No, it looks perfect." Yeah. We have had to replace the battery and the hydraulic slave with the clutch. And that's it.
I got my car back
Yeah,
yesterday. Yeah.
Well, the amazing thing is, I can still order. You saw it unlocked back or
No, it,
really
the
nice.
for
intake manifold,
Rock
and
Auto?
it got really hot,
Rock Auto?
lost all its coolant.
You were
From
thinking to
Rock
buy
Auto?
another one, right?
I
No,
was.
there's
But-
Boss Miata. That sells Miata
Well,
parts,
I like
Okay.
this one,
but
and
there's like 5 or 6.
if he
different
would have
places
said
I
that it
could get
was like $3,000 to fix it, I would have just bought another one. It was only $1,200 to fix it, so. So $1,200 to fix it or $3,000 to buy another one. It was an easy choice. But it took him 3 weeks.
So I was using this in my home, in my home network. Is the password and the network name of my house in the Raspberry Pi. So I create the same name of network and password in my home, my Tether network here in the phone. I connected with my computer to the phone perfectly and on the web in internet. But I don't see this guy in the network. I'm using an IP scanner.
You probably don't have a DHCP server running.
Where? Here in my phone.
Wherever you're, yes,
I need to maybe to turn on some service here.
you can share you can share one wireless to another wireless in Windows. What do they call that? Connection sharing. There used to be a connection sharing wizard, and you just put in a couple of things and it would set everything up. I don't know if Windows still does that, but I can do it on my box.
I'm using a DNC session to control the Raspberry Pi, okay?
Okay,
And
you can hook a keyboard.
I am trying to find out where's the IP number that is registering.
Right.
Using to register in my phone, in
But-
my network.
But you need to have a DHCP server to hand out an IP address. It may be able to connect, but if you don't have a DHCP server, it won't get an IP address.
Maybe I need to use auto. That's probably one something. Because I already did this last year, I remember,
Mhm.
and it works, but I don't know what changed.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry, yes, if you change the name of your phone to be what your home network is.
No,
And
it's the name, my mobile hotspot asked me the name of the network and the password. I just create the same network name
Okay.
and password.
Does your laptop hook up to your phone?
Wait a minute, there's a upper scale letter here. Upper, but my laptop is connected to it.
Really? Windows, they never did care
No,
about
no,
case.
It asked me for the name that he was seeing, and I just clicked on it, and it was with an L uppercase. So that's the problem. I need to change. Edit. The name.
I have lots of network options.
This a lowercase l. What?
You're gonna have fun if you forget to change that back before you get home.
So how to capitalize the first letter in
I was gonna say it looked like it connected to my phone and, but he's changed it. It's not connected now. I was going to network scan it from my phone because I've got a network scanner on.
I've got one, Hurricane Electric. It's a great little scanner, no ads, nothing.
This is just called NetScan and there's no ads or anything.
No.
It's not the best in the world, but basically mobile in map is what it is.
So Pololu has several boards with the name A star. And they use a I2C protocol to make those boards control a robot, motors, lights, distance sensors, all kinds of stuff. I just copy this library from Pololu and I am using a Arduino. I remember the name, this Arduino.
Is it,
The ones that is like the Leonardo or Mini,
oh,
Micro Mini or something like that. So I use an Arduino to have those libraries, and I am using the Raspberry Pi connected to this board to control the motors and everything of the robot. Okay? So to program the Raspberry Pi, I am using a remote connection, a DNC session, where I can see the interface, the graphic interface of Raspberry Pi. So I have there an editor, and I can program with C code or Python code. I'm using Python because it's faster. Each time I change a number in my program, I just click a button and see what's going on in the robot. Okay, so I will try to connect everything again. I'm now connected to the phone that is the one that is serving a network. Okay. And supposedly the Raspberry Pi automatically connects to this name and with this password to the phone also. So I need to check what's the IP number that Raspberry Pi is publishing in the network. Now I am scanning the network, trying to find out if this guy is here.
if it's actually doing what you think it's doing. Is it doing it? I don't know.
I'm connected.
Your network at your house is called Home's iPhone?
What?
Is your network at your house called Home's iPhone?
No.
Okay, because I'm seeing that.
No.
That's somebody else's.
Link net.
Ah.
24, because I have net 50 and 24, depending on the frequency. It's possible that use the same IP address that was using at home? With the same network?
Probably not when it does the DHCP request.
Okay, so.
It'll get a
maybe
new
it
one.
Create a new one.
The green light is flashing like. It's flashing a lot.
What?
There's a
What's
little,
what?
there's a little green light in there flashing.
This is Hurricane Electric's network analyzer.
Yeah, yours, that tells you a lot more than mine.
This is
Mine's a
the
basic.
Romy chassis from Pololo. But I was using a spray paint and change from red to this.
I wondered where
green
you
or
got that
blue.
color.
Huh?
I wondered where you got that color.
I also changed the color of the wheels.
Oh, there's actually some addresses that it's just a basic IP scanner. If it's broadcasting something, it will actually tell you more, and you can go ahead and do a large port scan or a quick port scan. It will scan all the ports or just what is common.
It's not working.
I don't know.
Now, if I were at home, I would be pretty sure that my wife had gotten in there and been frustrated because she couldn't remember the password and then reset everything. So now the 3 running computers in the house, the 2 tablets, and the 2 cell phones, only one of them will be free.
So, do you have an Android phone?
Yes, I do.
Do this thing.
I do not have the Android phone with me.
No, that's okay. Let's go into settings, network and internet. Internet. Let's see. I'm trying saved networks.
Okay.
And then find something, Blue Ash Chili. Click share. Yeah, that's me. And it gives you that,
I press this IP.
and it
So
shows
network.
what the password.
And it's
They didn't have one. It's an open
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
it's
Sorry.
Raspberry Pi.
Let's see.
So I need
Here's
to
one
change
that's
the name. The login.
Yeah.
Info.
you can print that out. It shows what the password is there.
Okay.
But if you scan that with a phone, it just connects instantly.
Hmm.
And I don't know what quick share is. That's a new thing. Whatever. Oh, now
Quick,
it's
one
looking for another phone.
of those will show you a QR code that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at my oldest kid's house, and everybody was like, "What's the Wi-Fi password?" I went, "I don't know," but I went, "Here, just scan that."
Yep.
Was in a sub network. Not in the main thing. Yeah, I press a button to check for sub networks and was there.
Yeah.
So
He was using the software wrong. And it still wasn't connected to the right Wi-Fi connection.
I don't know why, but it's working. Okay, now I am going into the IDE of Python. Now I can just, there is 2 parameters for the motors. I have a software that is counting the encoder's value. Meanwhile, the motors are running, okay? I will use one motor in one direction and the other one in the opposite direction. Keep this thing on the table. So play. Power. there are eight batteries in the bottom that are the ones that power the
motors,
motors. There. What?
maybe tell it to stop for a second.
So this is 30 and 30. Then there is a problem if I use Ctrl+C.
That was abrupt.
Yeah. The problem is if I use the stop button, the code stops immediately, and the controller is continue running the motors. Okay, so I create a how they call it keyboard interrupt
Mhm.
for checking the Ctrl+C letter and turn off everything before go out of the program. But anyway, I think it will be a good idea to have a interrupt in this board checking for I2C messages and has some kind of watchdog timer. If the master stop sending messages, it will stop immediately for safety reason, you know. If there is no one controlling me, I turn off. But this is something I need to add to this to make it more.
Well, for it to do that, you've got to be sending in a continuous stream of instructions.
Yeah, I need to keep in a loop, telling
If it
maybe
gives us
just sending
3,
something that is just a message that
continue.
continue. Because if it stops, you say, okay, there's no master here. I turn off everything. It's the best. But I don't know why they don't think on that in Honolulu people. I am thinking on that because I am planning to put this in a huge platform. And I don't want to get out of the code and the robot is moving, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe because they do very small things, they don't worry about that. But, okay, I will increase, I will double the speed of the wheels. Nothing happens. What happened with the power?
No, nobody touched it. What?
This is double speed, Ctrl+C. More interrupt.
Do you have encoders on the wheels?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's taking awfully perfect circles.
It's about 2 millimeters of creep every revolution,
Ctrl+C.
which is damn good.
Yeah.
I have some safety things here to move forward. Let's use 100. I don't know what's the maximum. It's 100.
Okay, so it's circling about.
Yeah. I will put both in the same direction. Ctrl+C and both in the same direction. Yeah, right?
Correct.
Let's see the encoders numbers. Yes, they are increasing. We get out and lost connection or something. Yeah, encoders. Yeah. Going back, I think.
Moving this forward. Yes.
I got a little bottle of ibuprofen. Did I set my robot on to do that? Vicente's got fancy, he got sticks.
The story goes that the Manhattan Project, they had a critical mass on the table. I'm planning to change this Raspberry Pi. This is a 3B plus. I'm planning to change it by the zero W.
Mhm.
It has a 1/5 of the power drain. The problem is that the interface is very slow. So maybe I developed in my Raspberry Pi 4
Mhm.
with just a board connected and
It-
check lights and then move the code to the web.
It would be quicker if you weren't running graphical desktop, just SSH to it instead of doing
Uh-huh.
VNC.
Only text.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the IDE is in graphic environment, the Tony. Sure, there is another option to run Python.
Yeah.
And SSH. So I will check that.
It's pretty
It's
straightforward.
faster. It's,
I
yeah.
mean,
It- The big difference is you'd
Actually,
have to go
I-
into the
I was-
editor,
I was
edit it,
in the
then
last-
run it.
yeah.
In the last 2 days, I used 4 different Raspberry Pi.
Mhm.
I have to configure them using SSH
Mhm.
terminal.
Mhm.
And I learned create directories, copy files, download GitHub libraries. I did everything. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Linux things,
So-
you know.
The way around that is you run Tmux. That gives you a split screen. You can run your REPL on the bottom and an IDE on the top.
Okay.
And there are definitely text-based IDEs.
Yeah, I think it will be nice to have a fast interface
Mhm.
and work directly with the Raspberry Pi, the zero.
Yeah.
And that VNC Connect thing, I think they're discontinuing that, aren't they?
That's what I'm
No,
aware
no,
of.
they're-
They're still pushing it
they're
for
already
five.
in the menu.
Are they?
Yeah.
Cause I logged into that not too long ago and it said on the 17th or something, they were discontinuing
Oh,
the,
okay, maybe.
I
Some-
don't know.
I just enabled it on my 5.
Yeah, see, there was something Raspberry Pis get an exception, but you're only allowed to have 3 connections or something.
Right. Yes, you have to download real VNC from real VNC. Then yeah, it's limited
Maybe
to,
that's it.
it's limited to connecting to 5 machines unless you actually pay for the license.
Maybe that's what it is. They,
I
all I know is I read that and went, well, I haven't used this in over a year. It's not that big a deal to me, so.
I have a lot of trouble with the Raspberry Pi 02W. It's faster, but supposedly the VNC interface is impossible slow, you know. And I found out that someone said that the problem is the 64 bits operating
Oh,
system.
yeah.
So I changed to 32, and it's running more or less faster, but it's still slow compared with the Raspberry Pi, the 3B.
I mean, VNC itself is pretty slow.
Also, depending in the resolution you want.
Yeah.
Is define how much data is going forward and backward. But
I don't know. VNC is pretty efficient at doing I mean, it
Yeah,
uses
but it
JPEG
uses
compression.
four times the amount of pixels.
Right,
in
but
your
it only
screen.
sends the full screen once. And then it has updates at this position, the mouse move, updates at this position, updates at this
I
position.
don't know if it works. this way.
It uses
Just it
JPEG
changes-
compression.
it always sends the change
Mhm,
in the screen, in the image.
yeah, and
Is the
you
logical way
can,
of
you can
thought.
see that if you've got a background that changes. Because it just gets ugly. And you get little blocks all over the place, it breaks up badly.
That's, I was gonna say, I remember it being kind of pixelated
Yeah.
at times. At times, and
Yeah.
then eventually
And
it
you can-
catches up.
You can request a full screen update. F8 and then R for refresh, I think. If you press F8 in there, it will
You are using,
drop down
you
a
are
bench.
using your Raspberry to do that, you know, the CPU. Or
Oh, yeah.
it's a controller out of the CPU.
I-
No, whenever you request a refresh, it goes to the sending side and said, resend everything. But then it goes back to doing just position updates and stuff.
I think there's a timeout somewhere where it refreshes the screen anyway.
Yeah, every 10 seconds or 30 or something.
Yeah. Cause I
It's
remember,
configurable. if I remember right.
I remember it gets pixelated and then a minute or so later, it fixes itself.
I'm having a lot of IO, remote IO error, a lot.
Talking about setting rules in auto. I was talking about during World War II, when there was a critical mass on the table, instead of making the appropriate tools. These two guys are farting around with screwdrivers.
For example, this area is changing continuously. This is a road for your connection with, right?
Mhm.
And usually it send a word message, how your connection ended or something. Now it's working, but
It may actually work to connect via SSH in a compressed tunnel and send VMC back through that. That might update more quickly. Because there's no real compression, I don't think, with VNC, which is why VNC kind of,
IO error.
mhm.
It's got glare, I can read it. Yeah.
Now it's disconnected, you know, the Python program is running, but I have no control. But I don't know if the Python is running. I know that the microcontroller is still moving the motor, but I am out of the. Usually you press Ctrl C and it stops, but I am out of the
Right.
repo or something like that. So I need to run again and press Ctrl C.
What's your controller?
The controller,
Yeah, what is that?
this
Yeah.
Arduino Pro Mini or something.
The Leonardo Pro Mini or
This is
Pro
the
Micro,
tiny
yeah.
version.
yeah, Pro Micro,
Pro Micro.
which I don't really think was made by Arduino. I think it was made by a third party.
Yeah. Now you have
Doesn't
different
matter.
models with the USB-C connector
Mhm.
that I like.
And this motor driver is a Pulu motor driver.
They have this for. This is from Polu. They have this board is connected directly to the Raspberry Pi. They have two models, same everything is the same except the motor driver, because this one is low voltage. Till 12 volts or so, and the other one is till 18 volts, but it's the same thing, you know? So you can, this is the same microcontroller that is in this board, so you can use this board connected to the Raspberry Pi and connect the cables to the robot from the board instead of this. There is a buzzer here, the same one here, that sounds when you turn on or whatever you want to play, sounds there. This is the drivers, the motor drivers. They are different drivers, but the rest is exactly the same. They say that the voltage range somewhere. What I can see in those tiny letters.
It's upside down. 5 volts. SV, I don't see.
You don't have the model. A star is the
Yeah, that's
name of the.
that's one of their brand. I don't see those. I don't see where it says how many volts it accepts.
Yeah, this one just looks like it says VN power plus. I'm not seeing,
Let's just stick a bunch of voltage on and see what happens.
how will it handle 60?
Where's one of those transformers you've got, Steve? Let's put the AC on it. Yeah.
One, two.
Looks you have a here. This is for a
Ground,
power barrel.
yeah. But it doesn't say, it doesn't say how much power.
In this direction. To connect your
Yeah.
power supply.
Yeah, I see a 5 volt, 3.3 volt, and 3.3 volt AVR there.
That's probably the 5 volt side,
Yeah,
but what can it handle for the motors?
Power in, but that's the range.
Oh. I've got a couple of,
Uno.
I've got a couple of volts like this.
I have one assemble and one make it like this.
This was what I got when I ordered for the Cosmin Elf. So they just put
Well,
different,
you can.
they just put different
emulate
firmware on
something,
that,
yeah.
but I gotta put that together, so
But
I thought you would appreciate
You will
that.
hate the holes for the key.
They're
buttons.
very small.
They are in the wrong position, so you need to bend the keys. And
Is that what's wrong with it? Cause I tried to stick
I
them in
told
there.
him I can correct that. He said, "Don't worry."
I tried to get them to get in there flat and it was like, this isn't really working.
He gave away the project. This is Oscar Vermeulen.
Wow.
He's not in charge of the hardware anymore. So there are a couple of guys that are selling the kit.
I bought that on eBay for 20
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
Thought it was a decent enough price.
Price was going up. I bought it for $12.
Oh, now I feel sad.
I bought two.
I'm sad now. We could have got away with just doing it ourselves, cause it's just real simple stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to that.
I'm planning to, my ruler is based in the software of this board.
That's what I,
But I add a lot of stuff, interruption and a lot of, and the simulation of the hardware is okay in my ruler. There are plenty of programs that doesn't run here because there are programs that control the segments of the LEDs directly to produce effects and games and things. And this use Arduino routine to scan and to show stuff. So it intercept the code in the monitor of the original board, intercept the code and put them in the display, or intercept the keyboard and put the key in the chart in routine of the monitor of the original. So it lose control of the hardware. But what I did was to reproduce, to make the original monitor, the 6502 code,
right,
to run actually in the ports and controlling the segments and the borders and everything. So it's exactly at the original board, controlling everything.
Nice.
So I test it with all kind of code and games and code to be sure that it's working correctly.
I saw a video on that Cosmic Elf and that thing just fascinated me. I was
Yeah.
like, that is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen, so. Hey. When computers were extremely expensive, a machine that you could build yourself for under $100,
I'm
that
trying
was a
to
big.
figure out how to control NeoPixels with this microcontroller, microprocessor at 1 megahertz. It's right in the limit of the maximum pulse with to control a NeoPixel. It's the clock of the system. So you need to figure out how to produce, to send the data to the NeoPixels using the clock of the CPU. But I found a way to try. I will try it.
It doesn't quite, they don't quite fit.
No, I hate
The
how
switches?
I hate
Yeah.
how
They don't quite fit.
I did another board with switches and they click nicely, perfectly, and they stay in position where it's supposed to be. When you use this board, you need to push in all directions your switches and try to center them.
And
You need
I
to
hate
turn
it.
it
I
90
hate it.
degrees,
I've,
because they're usually rectangular,
Yeah,
slightly.
it's rectangular, but the upper two is different. So, and the diameter of the holes are wrong.
yeah, I think the holes are
The
just
specification is
slightly off.
0.9 and they use 0.7 millimeters. So you are fighting with your legs in the holes.
The holes are just enough off to be a pain in the.
Yeah. Bigger.
Have you got enough space that you can bend the legs out
And
90
this
degrees?
is a,
and do
this is a
circle mount?
9-year-old design. And
I
it's
mean,
still the same.
It's in there, but just,
Yeah, but you have to fight with the bottom.
it's in there, but just, it's,
You don't have too many switches.
no, it looks like it should
Wow,
be,
that,
yeah, it's in there, but just.
Actually, I changed the buttons. I instead of use those buttons, I use another button that is half of the force. And they have like a port to put a cap. So
Oh.
mine is with keys, with real keys instead of those buttons.
I just got, I've got the 3D files to print for the case and the
Yeah.
keycaps that aren't really keycaps.
In the case, yeah. So I will send a picture of mine. This is my desk now.
I bet I've seen it. I bet I've People get fancy with this thing.
Mhm.
I don't know, I guess I was fat down and happy. I thought that these switches were standard. You,
They are about 75 different standard sizes.
It's just that whoever designed the board has the holes just slightly wrong.
yeah,
Just enough to be a pain.
this is Chinese brass casting quality.
I don't think it's the fault of the the PCB manufacturer. I think it's the tolerance on the design file itself is just a little off. Just enough.
And you've got it slightly to one side, so two of the
Yeah.
pins are through decently solderable. Two aren't. I mean, you'll be able to cover it with solder, but you'll never know, did it go down around the
Did
pin?
it actually do it?
Not until afterwards.
Oh, this button doesn't work. That's
Resolder.
the important button. That one.
I don't think this button works. I think it might, but I don't know. So let's wait
The-
until a critical time and then.
The thing that
You have cases, plastic cases. for that.
yeah, that's the one that yeah, that's the one I grabbed.
May I see a blank?
You may see a bunch of blanks. The thing that the guy said about it really was to be the step to mount the headers before the display,
Mhm.
because otherwise you're going to run into problems.
Honestly, I think if you were to take the switch and just smash the legs out, you could surface mount them. Or just flip them off.
Yeah, maybe they weren't meant to go down in the holes. Who knows?
As long as the back of the plastic was flush
You want
against
to
it.
deal with this kit, because I have the other one that I planning not to use it. It's the same thing in the back. Just have fun soldering.
By Cynthia's like,
Sure.
I wish I would have known that was what you were buying, because here's a kit.
Now I have like 10 kits. I have the PDP 11, the PDPA. Yeah, on kit, huge kit.
See that stuff didn't fascinate
I have
me as
kits on
much
kits.
as
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about
This
that
retro
stupid
computing.
These line up from the back side.
from the backside.
Well, I'm
Pretty
holding
sure
it,
those holes are parallel.
yeah,
I would hope so.
well, but I'm holding it on the backside because I can see it more clearly. If I put the kink in the leg above the hole, they appear to be exactly the right size. It should go in.
Okay, I believe you.
Okay.
I want to believe.
Right.
But is it in
There is another key.
there? You're 2 pins off.
Well, I know, I didn't want to smash it in there. I can set that in there and it matches up without having to bend the legs or anything.
Now, that hole actually worked.
Yeah.
That hole actually went through. Oh, that's on the backside, but it went through.
Yeah, this is the back side. You see, I am using, this is a 250 grams.
Yeah.
I'm using 100 grams. So you feel like a king instead of a switch.
Like, are some of these holes better than others? Is that what we're trying to say?
I don't know, I haven't examined it.
No,
See, that one went right through.
No, he bent,
Rotate them
he
90
bent the
degrees.
legs, use a new one,
Use a different one.
use a new one,
Oh, that is a new one, I pulled it out.
but you force it.
No, I did not. I just.
No, that one went right in there too. It's these,
The last line,
yeah, that one's not. That one's not wanting to do it.
Well,
That, oh, no, it went pretty much right in there.
let's compare the switches.
No, it did not go in there. That's you.
is it the same thing, but in folder format. In one folder.
And if,
This is
oh,
3 years ago, 2 years ago.
yeah. No, that one really did. Well, it did. Maybe the holes are. See, that was off. That hole is way off.
Maybe the first column.
Yeah, that hole's way off. Maybe it was meant for a different switch. The second row is way off. The third row is. Third row. So is that last row the one that works? Yeah, they're
Or
off.
you turn 90 degrees.
I'm turning it. I will even turn it.
Well. Both all appear to be the same distance.
200. So maybe 255 is the maximum.
Okay, oh, we're down to like 5 minutes. So here is the thing. Library is closed July 4th. So I'm just proposing that we spend time with family July 4th. We're in person then on July 11th. And then we try to get the room for the 18th. I think the 18th is the next.
Sounds good.
And we'll have the room the 13th, but it will be
So
abbreviated.
that will be in person.
July. Our next meeting,
June.
our next meeting is virtual, but I found out when I tried to make meetings that they're not open on July 4th. So that's what I'm proposing. Anybody got anything different to propose? That did not go in there well. I gotta take all this mess out to put it back in.
What's the
Right.
processor in that?
It's just an app,
But
app mega
the challenge
328,
was to connect.
Yes,
both, you know.
basically an Uno.
so two things. My wife goes to a shaker meeting. Been going on for 216 years.
I hope your wife's not 216 years old.
No, but the meeting is. And they had a picnic and they wanted me to cook hot dogs. So I manufactured 2 hot dog forks that were 8 feet long and held and cooked 12 hot dogs. each. And did a couple of props so that I could stick one of them right next to the fire. And stand back because these people load up a whole truckload of timber and set it on fire at once, so it's too hot.
I'm just picturing, wait, you made this 30-foot long CNC lathe thing and now you're making these 8-foot hot dog skewers?
Yeah, well,
You don't do anything small, do you?
well, I compared the switches, I thought that was relatively small.
Bye, Art.
Good night.
Okay.
We're virtual next week. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Alright, so
Bye.
I figured